Yep. Yeah, whenever.
Or should I say your better half? Are you? It goes both ways, right? Okay. So you got after the good lunch. That was a good one for everybody, right? That's very good.
All right, good afternoon, everybody. How are we? Good. All right. Good day to be a hard rocker. So thank you to Subway, our sponsor today. They are very, very welcoming when Sandy and I come in and eat 4 platters of sandwiches. So we thank them very much for being so kind to the Hard Rocker Athletics for sponsoring our lunch today. My only announcement today is keep buying your Jeep tickets. They will sell out. I have a feeling we're up over 200 already. And so for as little marketing as we've done on that, Sandy and I are pretty happy about it. So with that being said, next week is going to be at Buffalo Wild Wings, 11:30 a.m., just so you know where to go next Tuesday. And that's all I have today, so I am going to have Steve come up with cross country. Thank you.
All right, well, as you may know, we had to scramble a little bit last week to change our plans a little bit because of the weather in Billings, and it turned out to be worth it for the most part. We had pretty much perfect cross-country weather down in Kansas. The course was every bit as fast as I remembered it, so that was always good to see. Glad to know my memory still works. But we went down the women race first, and we had 3 women under the 20-minute mark, which was a great way to start the day with them. You see Alyssa Frankie, who's a Stevens grad, and Kayla Gagan, who is she's from Montana. She's seeing her for us right there. The women were really tight throughout the whole race, and did a really nice job. We almost had 4. We were 9 seconds away from putting 4 women under the 20-minute mark on this course, which was a huge thing to see. This was a really good opportunity for us to get to see some better teams in the conference and the region, and then also look at a few teams from across the regions. And we picked up a few wins. Didn't pick up quite as many as I think we could have, but we definitely showed that we're capable of picking up some more. So our number 1 gal was coming off a little bit of a tweak, so she was a little bit, Addie Wilson, so she was a little bit behind where we had, where she would have been probably if she was healthy, but overall a pretty good day. And we only got to the men's race, and this is always a fun one for guys because it's such a big field. I think there were about 170 or so in the guys race, something like that. And the course narrows down to about 12 feet wide after about 400 meters. So you kind of have to get out well, otherwise you're going to get stuck at the back through the first mile, and then you have a heck of a lot of work to do, because when those first guys go through the first mile in about 4:40, if you go through at 5:22, you got a lot of catching up to do. And so we We saw some really good pieces out of the guys. The biggest thing out of the guys that we saw was a great pack time. We had 45-second pack time. If you remember from the past, pack time in cross country is a huge component for us. If you can have a tight pack, you can do a lot of damage all at once. And so that gives you a real big advantage in the field. The one thing that hurt us a little bit was we had a couple of guys that were, we had one guy that didn't run because of injury and another one that was running a little bit tweaked, and so they didn't run quite as well in our front five as we could have. So we wound up 7th. We were 4 points out of 6th, and it was about 35 points to the 4th place mark, which 35 points is about 7 spots a person. And when you have somebody coming in every 2 seconds, you can see how it's pretty easy to start to make up some time on that, make up some points on that course. The good thing is that we got a chance to get our feet wet a little bit as we move into the conference season. As we will have our conference meet here in 2 weeks up in Grand Junction. Got a chance to see a couple of RMAC schools, and when I started looking at how they stacked up in some of their previous meets and how we stacked up in comparison, I feel pretty good about where we're at right now. But we've got to just keep moving our way up and keep opening things up. This is really kind of a unique season for us in that we haven't trained this way in years past. We've typically our top guys have 4 races under their belts by now, and as they reminded me, they really only have 1 because even at our home meet they were holding back a little bit. So now this was the first time really that they got to open up a little bit, and now we just keep trying to give them a little bit more leash and let them go a little more, and hopefully it all comes together at the conference in the region. Any questions? Yes, sir.
Not quite related to Hardrocker cross country, but can you maybe explain or give some insight of your thoughts on the ability to break the 2-hour mark on the marathon?
It's quite an accomplishment.
It is and it isn't. I guess I would have preferred to see them just let it happen because I think it's going to happen in the next few years naturally anyway. But Nike is known for putting on a show, and they put on a great show. They tried this earlier in the year, and they missed it by, I think it was like a minute and a half or something. When you break every rule of track and field in order to set the record, I guess you better put on a good show when you do it. It is an impressive mark, and if anybody was going to do it, that was the guy who was going to do it. So that 2-hour mark has stood for a long time. It's kind of like the equivalent of the 4-minute mile in track. Is that 2-hour mark? It's that mark where you get all these wannabe experts who say, you're going to die before you run under 2 hours. You're going to blow up. Your heart's going to explode. And it's all a matter of time, because the difference in a marathon between running 2 hours and running 1:58 is about 5 seconds a mile. That's not a huge grab at that level. It's a grab that it's taken a little bit longer, I think, than some people thought it would. So, other questions? All right, thank you.
Good afternoon. Soccer had a pretty interesting week. We were forced to leave on Wednesday to beat up that snowstorm that came through. So today's the first day that my guys have been in class since Wednesday morning. Made for a really long trip down to Utah, playing Dixie State and Westminster. Yeah, it was tough. 2 tough teams, 2 conference playoff teams. Dixie State came out, played them under the lights down in St. George. Really nice weather. we held it pretty tight for the most part. They slipped one in on us late in the first half, and through our push and press, unfortunately their goalkeeper came up with some huge saves, so we dropped that game 1-0. We're really proud of the boys, having to leave so early on such short notice, not getting a true training session in on Thursday. They definitely came out and played well. We continued our trip up to Salt Lake City, another place that had really nice weather, 65 degrees at kickoff. Unfortunately, we weren't as ready for Westminster as we were for Dixie State. We came out flat, got scored on really early, 4 minutes in, gave up the second goal 8 minutes into the game, and we started to fall apart. Guys lost discipline, we started arguing with each other, and as we all know, once that happens, it doesn't get much better. And unfortunately with soccer, you don't get timeouts to set things straight, so you have to rely on substitutions to try and mix it up. So at halftime, our conversation was pretty interesting. It was all about taking ownership, being leaders, even if you're not a captain, going out and playing for each other. And the second half was by far the better of the two halves, and probably the best half of the weekend. Unfortunately, the 4-0 deficit that we put ourselves in the first half, we were unable to climb out of, but we definitely played a lot better in that second half, and up to our potential. Just couldn't find a way to get on the scoreboard and ended up dropping the game 4-0. But again, proud of the guys for not giving up and continuing to fight through all the adversity and tired legs and tough travel, and going out there and making a statement of the team that we were in the first half isn't the team that we are normally. So, but yeah, two really tough teams to play against, especially on the road, especially having to leave that early, and being on the bus for 18 hours and sleeping in hotel beds and not eating what you normally eat. So we're showing signs of improvement, just not quite there yet. We still have to get over that mark of getting mad at each other and staying disciplined. But it's coming. Once the floodgates open, I think they'll stay open. So definitely excited for this weekend. Playing CCU on Friday at 3 p.m. We beat them 2 weeks ago, 2-1 down in Colorado. They're coming off a weekend where they got their first win of the season, and they're not a slouch team. Definitely have some quality players on their roster, so they're looking for revenge, and we're here to shut them down. Sunday, 11 a.m., we play MSU Denver. Also played them 2 weeks ago. Played really well against them. Unfortunately, gave up 4 shots, and they scored all 4 of them. So defense in that game needs to be a little tighter. I think we can take them down. That's it for soccer. Any questions?
Where are those 2 games at? What field are they in?
They'll be at Sioux Park.
Sioux Park Bowl?
Yep. Anything else? All right, thank you.
How's everybody doing?
Good.
Good, modern juice right there. Hey, we went in last week, obviously came up short up the road at Black Hills State. It was an interesting, as you try to get your team ready for a rivalry game, you want to make sure your juice level is exactly right. One of the things that's hard to replicate is what it's like to lose that game for our players. And so for some of them who had never been in one before they lost, they didn't quite understand what a heavy burden that is. The young men who had won it the year before thought, well, that's just what happens. And so as you're trying to get your juice level and energy right, I thought some of our players had real good urgency. Some of our players were a little tight on Saturday night. I think you saw it through that first quarter where we were afraid to make a mistake, and it's hard to play that way. It's kind of like, it reminded me of me playing golf. All the things I tell myself, whatever you do, don't go right. Whatever you do, don't go right. And it's going right. And that was a little bit of what we looked like a little bit through that first quarter. Really in all 3 phases. It just was not, we were just a tight football team. Second quarter, obviously, Will Carroll made the big play. Kind of got us back in the game, I thought. Going into halftime, really, if you look at our passing offense, well, there wasn't a passing offense. There was nothing to look at. that's as bad as you can play passing the football, and you're only down 2 scores, and we kind of got our mojo back on defense. Felt like we got out and got a stop to start the third quarter. We'd have a really good chance at it, and just didn't get the stop. Big penalty on a 3rd down play on a roughing of the quarterback, kept their drive alive. They scored. That hurt us, and then we turned the ball over on the next drive. And then, sort of, I think all that anxiety of the game went away, and we almost looked like Hardrocker football there for the next 25 minutes or so, where guys were making football plays, guys were playing without as much anxiety, guys were playing hard. We came together as a football team in the 3rd quarter, probably the first time since the Mesa game where you could see us all playing together as one full football team, which was very encouraging. It hadn't happened. And then just, realistically just didn't have enough time to get back all the way into the game because of the hole that we had dug. So a lot to learn from. We're at a quarterback development stage right now, a player development stage right now. And I would tell you that I've been through it a lot of times, and we're wide open right now in terms of our eyes and trying to see everything. And we're really trying to teach our players how to play with the composure that is required because we're trying to see everything, and so we're looking around like this a lot, and it's hard to see anything when you look around that much. So we're trying to create more discipline with our eyes and play a better brand of football all the way around, and we think our best football can still be in front of us. We do have some highlights from Saturday, some things that happened during the game that we wanted to bring up. Certainly this is Will's big play in the 2nd quarter, and this is the 2nd time. Coach Levy could tell you if it was the exact same coverage. It seemed like it was the exact same concept. It was slippery out there. Whoa! It seemed like it was the exact same coverage, exact same RPO style concept as he picked off at Simon Fraser. Was it pretty much the same look, Coach Lev?
Yes, sir.
And it was almost a repeat. This was just from a little bit further out. So we're going to try to get Will some more carries. This is Ahmad Lewis running behind the offensive line. Ahmad had a really strong night, over 180 rushing yards. He's really established himself on a game-in, game-out basis. What impressed me probably the most about Ahmad's performance is just that Colorado Pueblo the week prior is a very physical opponent. He had 36 touches against Pueblo, and he came back and he had another 30 touches against BH. That's hard to do. We really believed we were going to block some kicks against these guys. Coach Bo Montgomery does all of our kick blocking on those and does a great job. We finally got him. This is the throw to Ira Murphy. We're at the 7.5 minute mark, and we've completed a pass of the 3rd quarter. And this is Ahmad's first touchdown run. Obviously, this is about the time where, as like I was talking about, some of our anxiety was disappearing, and we were just playing football. This is the simplest play we run, and again, it's Carson Hunt on the reception. And it started to look a little bit more like what we're used to, where guys aren't thinking as much as they are playing. And here's the touchdown pass, a beautiful throw and catch from Thomas to Carson Hunt. And then this is 10:40 to go in the 4th. Here's the play. We've run this play. We probably ran this play 7 times on Saturday night. And the picture was the same pretty much every time we ran it. We just didn't get that every single time. Here's Ahmad again, and he's gonna score on one of these where he breaks into the clear from 20 yards out, but he scores on the very next play. Made it 41-28 with about 6 minutes left, and really felt at that point that you could see when I was talking about the anxiety of the game had shifted at that point. With 6 minutes going in the 4th, we had Black Hills playing pretty anxious, got the football back, and then we had kind of that bang-bang play. We threw it out to Ahmad. He made a pretty good move. But didn't take the ball with him, and the ball popped all the way out down to the 3-yard line, and that ended our comeback hopes, because I did feel like we had kind of caught our mojo. We're back in the football game, and I know what it's like trying to hold on to that lead. You could see BH trying to hold on to the lead, and they could feel it slipping away. And really, I would have liked to see what happened if we could have made it 41-35, because I do think we had a really good shot at it from there. So this week is Adams State. You guys are familiar with Adams State. Really good personnel. Every year they reload with a lot of transfers, and they've got a couple of transfers who can really play. So they have a receiver who's nearly at 1,000 yards this year, which that's crazy at this point in the season. So we'll be challenged there. And then defensively, they've really improved. You know, obviously a season ago, they didn't have a great defensive front. They went out and got some really good talent. And so they're going to give us our hands full on Saturday. Our focus is to play, you know, what we need to be able to do is build off of each other and play off of each other. Defense create momentum for offense. Offense create momentum for the kicking game. Kicking game create momentum for offense and defense. If we do that, we'll give ourselves a chance to get a road win against Adams State, which will be a very good fight on Saturday. That's a 1 o'clock kickoff Mountain Time. We're heading out there. We leave late in the night on Thursday. So, and heading down to Adams State they're 3-3 right now. They've got some good wins and just lost last week to Chapman State in a competitive game. So, any questions at all football-wise in terms of where we're at football-wise moving forward, where we are today, where we are tomorrow? Our players, yeah, go ahead.
Just a couple quick things. There was a play early in the first quarter. They had scored. We were kind of moving the ball. And what was the explanation given to you when they apparently had a pass interference penalty, which would have given us a first down? Instead, we ended up having to punt. And they picked up the flag. What were you told?
Oh, okay, yeah, I'm with you now. Okay, so there's a play in the first quarter. We run a little boot play. We throw it to Colin Zur. Flag is thrown. It was, the call was targeting, was the call that was made at that time. And apparently the person who called it didn't see it correctly because some other folks determined that were on the field that call was incorrect. So they waved the flag off. Ironically, it was probably pass interference even if it wasn't targeting, but they threw the flag for targeting. Unfortunately, if they would have called the flag for pass interference, they would have just kept the PI on, even if they took the targeting away. Bang, bang play. It goes that way sometimes. But if we'd have thrown the ball on time, it wouldn't have mattered. It would have been a first down anyways. There are a couple calls like that go in the game, but that was the explanation.
So I did. The other quickly is I gave Thomas Priest a lot of credit, considering how playing with so little confidence as he had when he lost the job.
Mm-hmm.
Come out in that particular moment with and play as well as he did.
Yeah. No, you're talking about Thomas and the way he came in the second half. Provided us a little bit of a spark. There's no question about that. And I think that kind of carries on to what I was saying earlier. Like we ran the exact same plays in the second half. There wasn't a single new play that we ran in the second half from the first half. And dang near the exact same order that we ran in the first half because it was a pretty condensed game plan. Toby was anxious. Toby was uncertain of himself. And when you're young, so you think you see it, and then it's time to throw it, and you go, yes, and then this little voice says, but don't screw up, right? And that's kind of where Toby was on Saturday. He was seeing it, and when it was time, he just wasn't sure about it. He didn't, what we call trust our eyes. Thomas just went out, he didn't have nearly as much anxiety. He just kind of trusted what he saw and let it go. You know, and I think that's the way we want our players to play, is just like what you're saying with Thomas. He just kind of let it go, and that was encouraging, you know. And we wanted to keep playing that way because that's when we're certainly at our best, no question. Yeah. What other kind of questions?
Is your intent then this week just let those two battle it out? Whoever gets, we'll get to go on Saturday.
Yeah, you know, someone's going to play quarterback on Saturday, no question. You know, look, I'm pretty loyal to both these guys. Well, really all the guys in the quarterback room. You know, I coach the quarterbacks pretty hard. You know, and so it's a high trust relationship the way we work. They get the truth. They don't get something different. We've attempted to put everything in for these players and let them play the system the way it's intended.
That competition's a good thing.
Yeah, it is. It's been a little overwhelming at times because it's a lot for them. And so we're making progress. We made progress yesterday. We made progress today. We did a couple things today we haven't done all season, in a good way. So that's got to continue to develop. And so everybody's fighting it out for a spot. You know, Coy Beal is trying to be the guy. Orlando's trying to make plays. So they're all trying to get to that spot. We're definitely going to have somebody behind center on Saturday, but we do need to be. We're not at standard of the position. There's no question, and we're working towards it. What else? Players of the game, I forgot to say the players of the game. Service players of the game, Tyler Roberts on defense. He's a freshman from Phoenix, Arizona area. Same high school as Adrian Perez, defensive end. Super long, 6'5" and change. He's growing by the minute, you know what I mean? And so, which is similar to Dixie and Pueblo defenders. And that gives teams a big problem because it's hard to throw through someone's arms and legs. It's just hard. You can't put a ball through someone's body. And then on offense, Kyle Ivey, running back out of Wyoming. And then the offensive player of the game, Ira Murphy, our tight end, had a really great game in the run game and the receiving game. And then swap-wise, our special teams, Chris Counts, senior out of Arizona, who's playing more and more and more right now, number 52, and doing a great job. And then our pickaxe, of course, was Ahmad Lewis, who I thought had a really fine effort on Saturday night and played really, really hard. So that's the scoop. Any other questions before Laura jumps up? Okay, guys, rock on.
So yeah, long week to talk about because we played 3 matches this week. I wish just one week I could get up here and be really stoked on the whole week, but we'll get there. Started off on Tuesday against Black Hills at Black Hills. They absolutely came out to beat us as hard as possible, and we absolutely came out wanting them to beat us as bad as possible. So it was really just a one-sided match. We did everything wrong. We played with no heart, we played with no hustle, and they played out of the runs. So we got beat really easily. Tough turnaround because it's just disappointing when it doesn't work the way you want it to work, especially coming off a win against Colorado Mines. It's like, where is that type of passion? So long conversations throughout the week, but felt good about where we're progressing throughout the week. We played Shadron on Friday night. A little bit different story because we did some really good things. We played 2 sets that were phenomenal. We played really hard. We executed really well, and then we played 3 sets that were the opposite of that. So kind of frustrating. Those 2 matches we hit under 130, which is bad, really bad. So we had a lot of conversations about we have to be better. We have to execute at a higher level, we have to perform at a higher level, and we have to play for each other. And so after that Shadron match, we had a very long, one-sided conversation on my part, but more so, we're not playing for each other, and we need to. So play for the people on the court, play for the people on the bench. We have to do it for each other. We have to execute at a high level, and we have to have fun in the process. So tough match to lose, tough two matches to lose back to back, because those are big rivalry matches. Those are big matches that we have to win to be top 8 in the RMAC. But quick turnaround. We played Metro at 3 o'clock on Saturday. And to be honest with you, it was kind of like a let's see what happens type of thing. We were not, like I said, we hit under 130 both matches, so not super stoked on our offense the previous night. So we walked into Saturday saying, all right, let's make it totally different. So Cassie, who's here today, got her first start of the entire season, first match of the season that she's ever played in. Started her at center with Cheyenne, so we went back to a 6-2, which is really more about our block and defense than anything else, but we ran a 6-2. We played an entire lineup of freshmen, except for Dana and Cheyenne. Just kind of was like, well, let's see what we're going to do. And we beat them in 4. And it's a huge match to win because not only are they number 1 in conference, they haven't lost anybody in conference. They've only lost 3 matches on the year, and the 3 matches that they've lost to are 3 top 10 nationally ranked teams. They just beat the number 1 team in the country. They just beat the number 12 team in the country. So beating a team like that after having 2 terrible days was really important for us. And it's a huge turnaround. And it speaks a lot to what we're capable of doing, but also, y'all, we need to beat the mediocre teams. So we're beating the worst teams, we're beating the best teams. If someone can tell me how to do this stuff in the middle, that'd be awesome. But like we talk about it every day, you don't get extra points for beating Metro. You don't get extra points for beating Colorado Mines. A win's a win, and we have to rack up wins in order to be the middle of the conference. And right now, the RMAC volleyball conference is crazy. Like, there is no bad team. Everybody is beating everybody, so we're in a position where wins are important, and we have to beat these teams. And feeling really confident about our schedule looking ahead because we have a lot of games we should be winning. So overall, incredibly proud of our team on Saturday. The way that we fought with 8 freshmen, 2 sophomores, and a starting lineup. We hit 310, which is the opposite of bad. It's fantastic. We had more blocks than they did. We served them off the court. We passed phenomenally. Our block was unbelievable. I mean, so all around great team performance. But if we can hold on to that momentum and understand that we can play and beat anybody, we're going to win a lot more games. So that's kind of where we're headed. But this weekend, we are headed to Gunnison, Colorado to beat Western State. And then we're going to Grand Junction to beat Colorado Mesa. So I feel you, Ryan. Road trips are tough. It's another one for us, but thankfully it's the last battle of the season. But you know what? If we can really hold on to this progression and this growth mindset, we're going to win some more games. So excited about these 2 matches. I think we match up really well with these 2 teams. But yeah, we just got to keep winning games. Before I take any questions, I want to bring up Cassie and Christy. So, video?
Want to show some video?
Sure, okay, hold on a second. Now you're gonna extra nervous. So yeah, sorry, Brett. Thank you, Brett. He put together some clips for us about our win against Metro. Yeah. That's 2 freshmen with a big block against, again, some of the best hitters in the conference, if not the best hitters in the conference. Big swing by JC. I don't think I've ever seen her hit the ball that hard. I about fell out. Torvi was a freshman on our right side, had an unbelievable match. She's been hitting over 300 the past 4 matches. JC with a big time ace that curved way back inside. Another big block by 2 freshmen against a kid that probably doesn't get blocked very often. That's a big block by Dana, who has been working on that in her game, so that's big. Nice step by Cassie there. She stopped a little bit, I think. That's another big block, 2 freshmen. Big swing by Dana. If you watch this match, if you were there, and if you look at stats, it kind of felt like the Dana show because she played out of her mind. She had 17 kills, 2 errors on 40 attempts, so almost 50% of the balls that she hit were kills, that's insane. So she played out of her mind, but it was probably the first match all year that we played that was like, everybody's fantastic. Everybody on the bench is fantastic, everybody on the court is fantastic, everyone did their job. And they did it statistically to the goals that we have set for ourselves. So really important for us. So I'd like to bring up Cassie and Christy Luce. They are twins, if you haven't picked that up already. They are both freshmen, and I'll let you kind of tell us about yourself, and then we'll talk a little bit about that. But Christy has been in a starting role for us the past few weeks in the DS role, meaning she's playing back row for our other outside right now, and she's been doing a fantastic job. She doesn't want the ball forward, she passes nails. Like I said before, Cassie had her first moment, the first time she's ever been in a match, her first start of the season, in a setting role, which isn't easy. It's actually one of the hardest jobs to do for the first time in the year. She played out of her mind, she was consistent, she set the ball beautifully to Dana, which is kind of the point. We gotta get that kid some good balls, and they're fantastic teammates. The whole recruiting process, we're like, we know they're talented, but at the end of the day, they're gonna help change our culture because they're fantastic kids. They work their butts off, they're relentless. So proud of them, but I'll let them talk about themselves and answer some questions.
Sorry, noticed the ball. So I'm Christy Lewis. I'm from Meeker, Colorado. As the coach said, I'm a DS, so I play back row and I'm a freshman. I'm majoring in business this year. I'd like more of the marketing kind of side of that, so I'm going to go down that road. But I really enjoy this program and like what it has to offer. When I was getting recruited, I just really enjoyed like the culture and everything about it. Like everyone was so welcoming and so like, I don't know, just really, you could tell that everyone really wanted you to be there, and you really felt like everything was really personable, and I really enjoyed the whole thing from start to finish. The coaches are fantastic. I love all my teammates. Like Coach said, there's a ton of freshmen. We all get along really well, but the upperclassmen too. Like we're one big family, and it's really cool that we all get along so well. And I just have enjoyed the process from start to finish, and I just can't wait to see where it goes. I'm super excited about this next weekend. We're gonna go out there and give them all we got. We're going back to my home state, so we got a rep over here. So yeah.
Hi everyone, I'm Cassie Luce. I'm also a freshman. Couldn't tell. I'm also majoring in business, except I'm looking more of the social media management area instead of marketing. I really enjoy playing here because, first of all, the school is awesome and it really pushes us to like really shine, show our true potential to everyone. And then along with volleyball, like what Christy was saying, everyone's so welcoming. Like we've been on teams where girls have not been nice. But here it's really awesome. All the upperclassmen aren't rude at all, like what we've had before. Very welcoming, treat each other with respect all the time. And like Chris was saying, the freshmen and even like the transfers that came in, all of us get along super well. We all hang out outside of volleyball. We don't even have to talk about volleyball. We get along great, and we just really love coming here and playing for everyone. And like Chris was saying, we have got to win this weekend.
It's personal.
It hits home.
Awesome. Do you have any questions for either them or me or us?
Maybe they could comment from a player's perspective. Two tremendous victories for this program. Colorado Huntington, when I got that on the football broadcast Saturday, put that over right away, and I'll be honest, I had to look at it twice, Brad's story, because that was super. From a player's standpoint, how do you analyze being so good and then stumbling like so poorly against Black Hills?
Yeah. No, that's the question we've been asking ourselves all season.
You got to bring your A game every time, But that had to be very euphoric to beat those teams.
Oh, it's so cool. Yeah.
Well, like you were saying, like, yeah, we did not play good on Tuesday or Friday, and we don't really know why. Just our vibes weren't there or something. It was just something was off, and then we just said, well, it is what it is. We're gonna go play tomorrow and get her done. And we did.
Yeah, we try not let the past couple games determine the next one. So, like our really bad loss on Tuesday doesn't define who we are for our next couple games. So we just try and throw it in the past and then focus on the next one, do what we have to do and get it done, and then next game.
Well, I think fairly, if you looked at it after that loss to Black Hills, and then a very hard, long, fought, hard game against Chadron that could have very easily taken a lot out of you. I don't think there's anybody who was honest in this room would have given you much of a chance on Saturday. But that's to your credit, the players' credit, the coaches' credit. That's about as much proud as I've been of a Hardrocker volleyball.
It's great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, we agree.
Yeah.
We agree.
We think like with part of our losses that it was all on us. Like they didn't do anything special. We had a long talk in the locker room about holding each other accountable, and when we came to realize like we're not doing that, and when Saturday came around, we're like, it's go time, and we have to hold each other to the highest standards possible, or we're not going to get the job done. And we did very well on Saturday with that.
So will you do it on the road trip for us?
Yes.
Yes.
Friday night, we're watching a match, and my wife and I are sitting there, and I'm telling her, Lauren's got a slow burn on right now. It's getting there. We just seemed like we were off in almost every phase of the game. We didn't pass the ball very well. I mean, you obviously know that. And we came back Saturday, and everything just clicked. But I did want to point out, Anna Davis, is that her last name?
Thomas.
Thomas. I love her. She is all over the floor. She is on the floor more than she's on her feet. She's in the bleachers. She's in the table. That's a fine young player you've got there. It seems like when she makes things happen, everybody else kind of picks it up. and your comment about how you see the kids on the sideline, how they're reacting, everything was just perfect that day.
Yeah.
And that's fun to watch. That's
No, I
fun to
agree.
watch.
I think Anna Thomas is undoubtedly one of the, if not the best libero in the conference right
She's
now.
awfully
She's
good.
fantastic, and she makes things happen.
She really-
But yeah, Friday, I mean, it's just something like, I think y'all said it the best. It's things that we don't normally let happen to us, we let happen. And that's just not how we play volleyball. And it just comes down to working hard, and not letting the ball hit the floor, and kind of caring about each other a little bit more. And once we do that, we can beat anybody.
Well, Lauren, I will say though, also that I think your change of going to the block more on Saturday was huge, because
And I agree.
how many big blocks did we have with those freshmen?
We went 8 to their
I
5.
mean,
Oh yeah, I mean, I think in set 1, I knew we were gonna, so we put back in Lily Barney, who was a freshman from Sioux Falls, and she hasn't played in maybe 2.5 weeks. She's kind of been in and out of lineup, and put her in, and we're like, let's get some blocks. And in the middle of set 1, I knew we were gonna win the match when they called a timeout because Lily blocked us outside twice, and Lily just comes up to me in the timeout and goes, ooh, she's scared. And at that point, I'm like, that's it. Like when you have freshmen on the floor that feel that confident shutting down a senior outside of the best team in the conference, I mean, it doesn't matter who can hit anybody. So
I thought the young lady from Mitchell had a nice game too.
she did. She played excellent. All of our hitters played fantastic.
Yes.
Everyone hit over 300.
You could see her confidence grow through.
Absolutely. No, for our freshmen to step up the way they did is a huge testament to what our upperclassmen have done for them and for this program, and provided them that opportunity to do that and not be rattled and not be scared and just go out and play fearlessly. That's based on what our upperclassmen have done for this culture, for sure. Yeah. Awesome. Away this weekend, we're back home for 2 weekends in a row, so we'll get her done, as the kids say.
I'm a little taller, so I'll put the microphone up here a little bit. You know, today and every day is a great day to be a Hard Rocker. First of all, I want to thank Subway for sponsoring today's lunch. I'd like to also thank Maria and Sandy and Brad and everybody in athletic support, the athletic trainer, strength and conditioning coach, the service side of things. I really appreciate what they do. You know, I'm sitting here writing down some notes with the ladies and the coaches and everybody, and we're on the cusp of going from good to great. And I revert back, I think back of, I was coaching 10-year-old softball this summer, and I'm trying to get these 10-year-olds to play against the game. Doesn't matter who you play against the game, okay? And that means doing your job. If you're the setter, if you're the hitter, if you're the goalie, you do your job. When you're running against the clock. You know, who cares what the uniform looks like? Had a conversation with Maria about this morning. Some of you in this room aren't going to like this. Who cares when it's BH week? I know. There are a lot of people that do. There are a lot of people that do, but we've got to get to the point where Black Hills State is just another game. And it's great for us to beat them. And it's great to be hyped, but let the administrators deal with the hype. Because if you get way up here for one game on the year, and you don't get there for the rest of them, you're inconsistent. And it's got to be here the entire way, right? Play against the game. We used to talk about that coaching baseball and women's basketball all the time. Play against the game. Here's the play. Do your job. Do what you're expected to do. Everybody in this room, every coach in this room, every team in this room has had signature victories that are putting us forward. And I'm proud of that. I'm proud of how hard our kids work. I'm proud of how hard our coaches work. And I'm proud of everybody supporting Hard Rocker athletics. We're there. We're getting closer. Every year we inch a little bit forward. Every year we inch a little bit forward. But I'll reiterate, let's play against the game. Keep doing what you're doing, coaching staff. You're doing the right things. You're not getting us so high and so excited that it's just one one game is more important than the other. Just keep the process going, and good things are going to turn out. Thank you for supporting Hardrocker Athletics. Thank you, Steve, for answering that marathon question. I did not realize that Nike set it up, so I'll do some more research on that. I will point out too, one of my notes here, you know, when I was a college athlete and even when I was coaching, you don't remember all the wins and losses, but you do remember those road trips, the team bonding that takes place on the bus. I remember my junior year taking 15 passenger vans all over rural Kansas, and we crammed like 17 guys in a 15 passenger van, so some of us were sitting on the wheel well holding our batting bags. That's the stuff you remember. So live that up, ladies. It's a lot of fun. You'll remember all that. And you can follow all Hard Rocker action at GoRockers.com. Friday we have home soccer at 3 o'clock. Volleyball's going to be on the road at Western State Gunnison 7 p.m. Saturday, volleyball 4, football at Adams State at 1 o'clock. And then Sunday morning, right after church, 11 o'clock, soccer will play Metro. Good luck to everyone this weekend. And again, thanks for coming and supporting Hardrocker Athletics. It's a great day to be a Hardrocker.